Hey everyone, I'm Rather Incoherent. In my previous playthrough of HEMLOCK VALE, I mentioned that I was consistently full clearing or nearly full clearing every prelude. I felt like with meta knowledge, they were guaranteed successes where you got everything you wanted done and just had a super mulligan for the day phases, or day scenarios rather, that more or less trivialized the difficulty of those day scenarios. And I, generally speaking, think that playing the preludes is a waste of time and that the super mulligan phase you get for day scenarios makes them too easy. And the game would be better off if, rather than pretending I was playing a scenario during the preludes, I just skipped the preludes, read all the codexes, and then took a normal mulligan during the day scenarios. After doing a lot of math and getting all of that sorted and seeing if I really think that after replaying and focusing on it, yes, I do. I think that every prelude can be a full clear almost 100% of the time, and that playing it is a waste of my time. I think that I get the exact same experience by just reading the codexes all in a row. The issue is that without the locations, the codexes are a little bit confusing because, like, you start the comments, but you don't have the context for what started the comments. Like, you don't know, reading this commons, what was the trigger, what was the parlay, what is your task here in this codex? And I've been thinking about whether or not I actually want to go through the trouble of making this into a document to showcase, like, what it would be doing, because I could make it incredibly codified and clear. As an example, if I were willing to spend the time and effort, I could make something like this. This, of course, is just a JPEG and not a PDF page, and if you scaled it down to a PDF page, the resolution would be too small, teeny tiny squinto vision. Realistically, it would be 4 of these per page, which is what you see in the current setup, by the way. You see 2 columns, and you can fit 4 in a page, and every one that's super long has a ton of stuff where it's like, oh, this isn't actually text I need to keep. I can cut that out and shrink it down and just have the stuff that actually matters. So you would only have 8 of these, not 16 on one page. There'd be instructions. And realistically, I don't like the formatting of this. I would much rather it be like this, where it's like clearly explaining what the original thing was. Here's the first codex. You take the bottom of it and you just move it up. You don't like scratch this out, but instead of having that information that's rules text for the game, you would move it up and make the box smaller, arrow going to what resolves afterwards, which is Leia, and then like pictures of the cards off to the side, and you'd have 4 of those in one page, and you would have 2 pages, each with 4. That would be the whole of both codexes, and that's how I would organize it and try to get it done. My issue with making a document like that is, like, sure, if you're playing physically, you can print that out and just put it in your rules book, whether it's a physical book. I'm gonna go off track. The point is that, like, even if it's a pre-bound book, you can just insert the pages like next to the codex and you'd be able to read it. But outside of that, like, anyone who's not printing it and putting it into their rules book, they have to keep a page on their like computer, like they have to download an image and keep track of it, or it has to be inserted into tabletop sim, or it has to be like a thing where you open my Discord or Reddit to find the original source of the PDF. And like, the PDF would be nice, it would be pretty, but like, in so many less words, just read the damn thing backwards, right? There's only 2 issues. One is if you're delivering a package, resolves backwards. 3 issues. 2 is that you lose the initial context of why you're doing the thing. And 3 is that on day 2, which I think is around page 33, it's disgusting that I'm so close to right. And on day 2, you have the curse, which like you're not even supposed to read, but like you can figure out pretty quickly that Codex 17, the curse, is the one from flipping the act over that you're not required to read. So like the incredibly simple version of this is just read the codexes backwards. And that works. Like, if you are okay with losing a lot of story consistency, which you probably are if this is the sort of thing that appeals to you at all in the first place, because like most of this isn't even an important story. No one reads this and they care about the young woman with a bob cut that greets you as you enter the double barn doors into the commons. What they care about is that puts Gideon into play. And then when you read Gideon's section, you have the context that you found him at the commons. And I thought, wow, that's sort of out of nowhere. You're no good, Martha Jean, mumbles the old man. It turns out there's no context to that, but you just double action parlay him. The context was like, wow, I lost a lot of context. I really don't understand what that means. It's the same Gideon card it always is. He's just talking about shit because he's an old man. It doesn't have any context. So since I really don't think you're losing meaningful context, aside from the curse and the errand, I don't think there's a big deal with just reading it backwards. And if you do read the running an errand thing, you're like, huh, I don't know if I'm running an errand yet. Just wait. Just be like, oh, we'll come back to Codex 14. Anytime you see if you're running an errand otherwise, the otherwise is useless. So what you really do is you just say, oh, if we find out that we're running an errand, we'll go back and reread Tad's General Store and resolve it. And then with all of the locations, it's like rule shit, rule shit, rule shit. We'll remember running an errand. Again, nothing here is resolving. Oh wait, that's not true. This is the Atwood House in day 2. This absolutely does resolve. So you read one of these and it puts them into play and you don't let them continue fighting. And it turns out that's basically the same as not doing anything. The one thing that's going to be an issue is, again, River has a point and William has a point are mutually exclusive. So if you are skipping through it and I don't have a document to guide you, then you might end up supporting both William and River. But again, I'm going to assume you can figure out based on the fact that these are like very clearly opposites where they're hurting the other person's opinion that you're not supposed to read both. So I could definitely like make a prettier version of this and post it somewhere. And if people really want that, I will. Because it's not a big deal to make something like this. Break it down into proper pages, get the JPEGs converted to PDF pages, and then with stuff like this in the comments, right? Let's pop over to a clean page, get rid of all this shit. Because it's not hard to like zoom in on the PDF, get the things I need, then come over here, go to cutout, use basic shape cutout, remove the bottom, invert it, apply it, drag it over here to get the exact same formatting, bring it all the way to the bottom so that it covers up anything that's wrong. There's a slight problem at the bottom where you can see the line blur. It doesn't matter to me at all. We grab the other one, we go to cutout again, cut out the top of it, invert it, boom, flatten, and there we go. This is just the rules text now. I have just the story text, all the rules for a scenario that's not being resolved or cut out, and I can bring this back in and be like, oh, hey, this commons, that's way more text than anyone actually needs to read. For my version, I just need that. And I can go through it in maybe 2 hours of work, I can make this into a thing where it's gonna be like 6 pages with 4 of these each with better formatting. One of the main issues right now is that I would need to get access to like the specific scans of these locations or use slightly like cropped shitty versions where I do like this and try to get it myself. I don't know how to pull the exact cards out of TTS right now. I probably would look that up. But like, yeah, I can do it. I just don't know that anyone cares. I don't know that anyone wants it. Like, I feel like just read this shit backwards and assume that you're able to do all of it and then don't take extended mulligan phases and play the day phases, the day scenarios like normal scenarios is what it boils down to. I feel like that's easier to remember, easier to manage. I feel like the people who want to use this are experienced enough in the game to be comfortable doing that, and the people who are new and would really benefit from the document should play through the Preludes the first time. They shouldn't be using the document. So, I don't know, you tell me. Do people want this? Is this a document that people want me to produce? Or is this something where like everyone who's even interested in it is happy to just read the Prelude instructions backwards and resolve every codex? Because for me personally, it's a lot less work to read the codexes backwards every time I play this than it is to make the documents, but if people want this, I will make this. You tell me. Anyway, for now, I'm done. I've been Rather Incoherent. We will never be talking about HEMLOCK VALE Preludes ever again on this channel, because they're done existing, unless people want the document, in which case we'll talk about it one more time in a YouTube short and a Reddit post, but not on a proper video. For now, I'm done. Thank you for watching. If you could take a moment to do the YouTube algorithm dance, like, comment, subscribe, all that nonsense, I really appreciate it. And on that note, I greatly appreciate all of my supporters over on Patreon and all of my members on YouTube. Thank you for your time, and I'll see you in the next one.